Anyway, if you like this reading, as I always ask you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like to. And yeah, I'll just start your reading right now for Gemini. I don't know why I said that. So, okay, so the first card you have your past is the High Priestess. Yeah, I love this card. I love the mystery of this card and the silent knowing that she's kind of sitting there like the Mona Lisa and she kind of knows everything, but she's not saying anything. I love that. So anyway, what I'm seeing here is, yeah, I'm seeing something quite serious here. It was serious to you. It might not have been serious to the other person. So, and I think that's where the dilemma in this is. So I hope this is going to make sense. So you've got a long memory. That's what I'm seeing. Not for everything. You don't go around holding grudges all the time. But I think there was something that you found to be almost unforgivable, very, very serious. And I think this is something that was sad. And I think it was something that might have caused you to feel a bit left out of something. It was a feeling that you had. And I think someone left you out or made you feel left out. Or it was something like that. Now, I'm just getting this feeling that someone thought that you'd forgotten this, that they'd done this to you, or they just thought you'd let this go, or you'd forgotten, or whatever. And they might have been trying to come around to you again, talking to you again, trying to be your friend again, or whatever, and reconnect or something. But I think they felt this really, really negative energy coming from you. And I think for some reason, I don't think you could say anything to them. And that's how you felt. You felt as if you couldn't say anything to them. And I think that's because this was probably around work. And I think this is someone in your work. I think this is probably someone who's above you in some way. They might be a boss or something like that. And that's why you couldn't say anything to them. I think that's what the problem is. You had to be diplomatic, you couldn't speak up, you couldn't say anything to them. So that's what I'm seeing there. And they could feel this coming from you, that they could feel this cold energy coming from you. But you couldn't say what this was. And I don't think you meant to be cold with them. I don't think you meant that. But that came from how you were feeling. So you couldn't be all friendly with them. You couldn't be, you know, their friend and be all nice to them or whatever. But you also couldn't tell them what was wrong. You couldn't tell them off. You couldn't say anything. That's what I'm getting around that. So if that resonates, you know, I think also you couldn't say anything because it would sound quite petty if you did. You know, it's like if you came out and said anything, you'd have to say something like, oh, I was left out, you know, which sounds quite childish. Now, it's not childish. This was actually quite serious, what happened, and it really did hurt you. But that's how it would have come out, I think, if you said anything. So there are a lot of reasons why you didn't say anything. Yeah, the other thing I'm getting is this really bothered you as well, because I think this person who's above you in your work, I think you know that you're very knowledgeable, you're very smart, you have a lot of knowledge, and I think you're a lot more capable than this person who's above you, who hurt you. So that's probably bothering you as well, or it was at this time, and that's kind of adding to this tension around you and this iciness that you're giving off. So that's what I'm seeing in that. Yeah, so the next card you have your past is the Seven of Cups. So yeah, this is about confusion, decisions, difficult decisions, all of that kind of thing. And I think this person was a bit confused by this iciness, your boss or whoever this was. I don't think you meant this, but it was coming from you, whether you meant to or not. I think you're going to be civil with this person. I don't think you're going to have any big fights or anything like that. You're not going to be their best friend. You just won't. But yeah, they've forgotten what they've done and they don't understand this from you. But I think you're going to settle this. You're going to come to some kind of a truce. Again, you're not going to be best friends, but I think you'll probably just kind of settle this and you'll kind of, you know, just be a bit quiet around them, and it's going to kind of settle down as much as it possibly can. That's what I'm seeing. I'm also seeing some other confusion in this card. Yeah, I think there's someone close to you. I think they're a little bit confused by your actions. Yeah, there's love around this. I'm seeing someone who's attracted to you. They're quite different to you in the way that they express themselves. It's very different to the way you express yourself. So yeah, they're a straightforward person. They're straight down the line. I'm not saying you're not straightforward. I'm not saying you're hiding things or you're kind of difficult. I am picking up on a little bit of moodiness coming from you. You've been through a lot of ups and downs lately, I think. Now, also what I'm picking up is they want to get closer to you than they are now. They're a little bit confused, not just because of these moods. They're just not sure whether you're as interested in them or what you're thinking. They're not quite sure where you are. That's what I'm getting. So if you have this person with you who you're with or who you're talking to, or if you're in a relationship with, whatever that is, if they're very different to you, if they're holding back, if they're distancing themselves, if they're feeling that, and if you're feeling that coming from them, that's probably why. They're not sure where you are. They're not sure, what to think about you or how you feel about them. They're kind of unsure about that. So I think they're probably getting these mixed messages, or they feel as if they are. And I don't think you're meaning to do this. Once again, you're not meaning to, but that's how they're feeling. So I'm just letting you know that's how they're feeling, if that's resonating with you. So the last card you have your past, the Emperor. This is this person, this is them. They're the opposite to you. You're all feelings, you're talkative, you're kind of moods, you're kind of spontaneous. You just say something and you do it. They're quite orderly, they're quite right and wrong, they're quite kind of straightforward, they're very blunt. If they want to say something, they'll just come out and say it. You're not like that. You're kind of, let's just see how I feel. I don't know if this is what I want to say. And sometimes you feel like this, then the next minute you feel another way. And that really, really confuses them. So I think sometimes with this kind of person, if you're not blatantly coming out and saying, I feel this, I think this, I want to do this, I feel this way about you, they just don't understand. They don't understand subtlety. They don't understand ambiguity. They just want straight out, I feel like this, I want to do this. So I think if you do care about this person, if you know who this is, if you're close to them, but you feel that distance, I think you're just going to have to come out and almost get a great big hammer and hit them over the head with it. You're going to have to be quite blunt with them. You're going to have to be quite forceful and forward with them. That's what you're going to have to be with them, if that's all making sense to you. So the first card you have your presence, the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so I'm seeing the situation here. I always see this in your readings. This is about fairness. I think fairness is very, very important to you. I think there are a lot of people in your life, in your past, I hope they're in your past, people that haven't treated you very fairly. So things like feeling left out, what I was seeing in the High Priestess, that really, really gets to you. That really, really bothers you because it's unfair. You don't like that feeling. And I think that's why it bothered you even more than it would other people. Also owing people things. You don't like owing people things. So what I'm getting is that you have this really, really strong sense of right and wrong, and you don't like people owing you things. No one likes that, but you have a very, very strong sense of that because someone owed you something, or they do now. Now, I've been getting this for a long, long time in your readings, a situation, this unfair situation that's been going on for a while. And you've had this card in your readings a lot. It keeps on coming up in your readings all the time. So there's this unfairness here. It's in your past. It's around money. It's in this process now. It's being rectified if it hasn't already. And I think you know it's in this process. I think you know it's a difficult process. It's heading in the right direction. I think you know that, but if you don't know that, I'm telling you that it's heading in the right direction. So just put that aside. I know this is very stressful for you, and it has been. I'm also seeing a little bit of gossip around this. Now, it might be around this person that you're in this with. It might be coming from your opponent in this, or it might be coming from people around them, because they do have very, very loyal family members around them, and they like to gossip, they like to talk. I think you know this, and I think it used to bother you once. It used to bother you a lot once. But I think now you just know it's there. I think you know it happens. I think they're always going to talk about you. You know that. And I think when you hear about this gossip, I think what happens is you just roll your eyes now. So I think that's the best way to be if that's what you're doing. It's a bit like when I get trolls, you know, I roll my eyes. So it's the same kind of thing. So yeah, again, this is all going in the right direction. It's all going in the direction of fairness. It's going to be rectified. Nothing anyone says, gossip, talk, none of that's going to make any difference to this. No one can change the direction this is going with. It's like a train on a track. You can't pull it off. It's going in the right direction for you. You know that. So just keep on holding on. Hang in there. This is going to happen. That's what I'm seeing. If it hasn't already, it might have already. So the next card you have for your presents, the Ten of Wands. Okay. So I'm getting this feeling of feeling a little bit stuck. I think this is around your job, because you have that problem in your job. I was seeing the High Priestess, but it's not just that. I think you know that you want to get out of this. I think you know that you want to get into something new, some other job, some other business, something like that. I think you have a lot of dreams, you have a lot of aspirations, a lot of things you'd like to do. Now, because there are so many things, I think it's going to be a matter of narrowing this down. I think part of your personality is that you have a lot of different dreams. One minute you go, oh, I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that, I'd love to do this. Now that's fantastic, that's absolutely fine. But I think if you are realistically going to do something and actually move forward and do something and complete something, you're going to have to narrow it down to at least one or two things. Because I'm looking at this card and I'm looking at the one next to it as well, the Seven of Cups, and that can be about confusing choices. So you've got these confusing choices, you don't know which one to do, and you've got this burden here on this card where you want to change your job, you want to change into something else, but to be able to do that, you're going to have to narrow down your choices. I'm also seeing this burden of there are some people relying on you as well. I'm not saying there are any people around you who are horrible burdens, but it's just like, you know, you'd love to branch out, you'd love to do something different, but you feel as if you can't quite do that because maybe you have people relying on you as well. So it might be that as well. So yeah, you can definitely move. You can definitely move into another area, another workplace, another business, or whatever this is. There's nothing stopping you. You can do that. You can ease into things. You can stay where you are and ease into something new. You can do that. But if this is all resonating with you and you do want to move into something else, you're going to have to narrow it down to one or two things at least. Think about all the different dreams, all the different aspirations you have. If they're flying around in your head, write them all down. Think about what makes you feel the most happy, the most alive, the most excited, and then go from there. Work from there. Start small if you need to, but do something. Start somewhere, but narrow it down. Because I hate to see you with this great big heavy feeling. I'd love you to be able to move into something that you're dreaming of, but you can't have all these different things flying around. You need to really narrow it down. So I think that's the message I'm getting in that card, and also in the Seven of Cups that's next to it, because I'm looking at them together. So the last card you have your presence, the Four of Cups. Okay, so I think this is about this person in the Emperor card. This is someone who loves you. This is someone who wants to be with you, or if they're already with you, they want to get closer, but they're a bit confused by you. That's what I'm seeing. Now, I think this is a little bit of a warning for you, sort of a warning. I don't know if you realize that this is what you're doing yet. If you have this person around you, this love connection who's very straightforward, very upfront, very strong, be direct with them. Be upfront with them. Because again, I don't think you're doing this deliberately, and I don't think you mean to kind of be all subtle and ambiguous and in and out and kind of, confusing. But I think you just speak two different languages, two different love languages. You might even think you're being upfront with them. But I think upfront to you isn't the same as what's upfront to them. So if this is making any sense to you at all, might not be. I think you're just going to have to be really obvious with them again, because at this time, they still love you. They still want to get closer to you. They're not like the man in this card right now. But I think if they keep on feeling confused, that you're giving them mixed signals, they might start to think that you're messing them around on purpose. They might start to be angry, or they might start to be tired, disinterested, sick of the games. You know, you might not be playing games, but they might start to feel as if you are. So just be careful, just keep that in mind. I've seen this twice now, so I think someone needs to hear this. So be very, very upfront with them. Hit them over the head with what you want to say. Don't be indirect. Be very direct with this person if this is resonating with you. So the first card you have you features the Four of Swords. Okay, so yeah, so this can be about meditating, resting, lying down, all of that, doing all of those things. And all of those things are to find enlightenment. Find enlightenment, I'm trying to say. Find the answer. And the answer's in that beautiful stained glass window. So what he's doing is he's lying down, he's resting, he's getting some time to himself so that he can find the idea, the big answer to what he wants, the enlightenment. So I think what's going to happen is, because I'm seeing this as kind of following on from what I'm seeing in the Ten of Swords, I think you're probably going to have to incorporate some kind of meditation or rest or something into the process of narrowing down and determining what you'd really love to do. And the big message in this card is that you can do it. You can do any one of those things. You can do any of them. You have it in you. You have it inside you. You have value inside you. This statue's golden. You have this golden ability inside you. Now, to be able to realize that, to really realize that, I think you're just going to have to get away from the stress, away from all the work, away from all the burdens that I was seeing in the Ten of Wands, and also all the worries around this money thing and everything else, this thing and the Six of Pentacles. Now, I'm not saying run away from everything. What's that? It's raining. Sorry about that. Any noise just sets me off. So, okay, so yeah, but what I'm saying is don't run away from your responsibilities. Of course, don't do that. But you need a holiday inside your mind. You need a break, a mental break. And I think that's the only way you're going to be able to cut through this confusion and to be able to see your own value and to know that you can do this thing, this one or these two things. So I think even if you just get a day or a few hours or even an hour to yourself, that's going to help you. I mean, look at this man. He has these swords hanging over his head, these worries. So the only way you're going to get these swords off your head and get these burdens off your head is to rest or to meditate. So I hope this doesn't sound really cringy, but that's when you'll be able to see the full value inside yourself. And that's when you're going to be able to say to yourself, I can do this, you know, I can do this, I'm able to do this. I don't have any of these confusions around me. I don't have any of this stress around me. I can do this. Okay, so how can I do this? Okay, so what can I do? What do I really want to do the most of all? Okay, maybe this, maybe that. So narrow it down and then you'll be able to move forward. But you need to cut all the stress out first. That's what I'm seeing in that card. So the next card you have you features the King of Swords. Yeah, again, this is very similar. So this is about self-protection. It's about strength. It's about clarity. So you might have to, while you're in this time of kind of getting this time out to yourself, you might have to protect yourself from people who want to encroach on your time, maybe. Especially if you're taking this break, if you're really serious about this, which you should be. So you might have to turn your phone off, you might have to lock the door, anything. I mean, it's not going to be easy for you to do. But I think this is going to be really, really important for you because I think, again, this is how you're ultimately going to get this freedom. Inner freedom first, and then outer freedom. That's what I'm seeing. So inner freedom, protect yourself, get that time to yourself, narrow it down, think to yourself, and then when you've narrowed it down, when you realize your value, that's going to give you that outer freedom to be able to move forward and do what you want. And look at these butterflies above this king's head. He's guarding himself because he's protecting himself. And because of that, because he's protected himself, he's able to think. And that's giving him freedom. These butterflies are around his head. So he's thinking, and then the freedom comes from his head. And also he's able to grow. He's much bigger than the landscape around him. So protecting himself, giving himself that freedom, that's helping him to grow. So that's how you're going to grow. I don't mean for this to be a work reading, but this is how it's turning out. So that's what I'm seeing. So yeah. So the last card you have for your future is the Chariot. So yeah. Again, this is a work reading. I didn't mean it, but it's happening like that. So, okay. So again, the man in the chariot, he's doing the same thing. He's guarding himself. He's guarding himself. He's surrounded by this box. And no one can get to him. He's completely guarded. The sphinxes are guarding him as well. And, that's how he's getting to where he needs to go, because he's in the chariot. So after that, he's able to move forward. And there are stars on his head as well. Look at that. He has stars all around his head. So stars are about hope. And so he has hope in his mind, and he's looking forward to something. He's determined to get there, and he's going to drive toward this. He's going to drive toward his hopes and his dreams and his ambitions. So all of this is all illustrating the same thing. Get some time to yourself, meditate if you need to, narrow it down to a few things, feel the value inside yourself, get on that path and move toward the one or two things that you've narrowed this down to. Again, I didn't mean this to be a work reading, but this is how this turned out. So I really hope this message gets to someone who needs to hear this. So yes, so Gemini, yeah, I hope this resonated with you. But as you know, these readings can't always resonate with everyone. But again, if you like this reading, please like, subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like to. And thank you so much for watching.